Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of War Infinite Panels. We hit the big 1-0, and we're almost two issues in till we get our first annual. So, for this particular issue, Jules will go through a redemption arc of admitting and suffering through his character's degradation of eating all those cakes and sweets and how much he may have caught the diabetes.
Really, I thought it was the redemption arc where I killed someone, killed somebody, and then everybody feels sorry for me, and then I go through a half-assed redemption.
I know. I think the cake one is better just because because if we kill someone and then go through a half-ass redemption, we'll be doing like a half-ass, Dark Knight, and we don't have time for a half-ass Dark Knight.
Yeah, and then everybody forgives me so easily, and then I just go through insert guilt all the time, and then everybody think that's what a redemption looks like.
Yeah, which is the same thing as eating bad cake for like 6 hours and then realize you have diabetes.
Can I just have a redemption arc the same way that Peridot did in Steven Universe, where I'm adorable?
You're not a clod, so let's not get there.
Hey everybody. So we sorry for that painful segue, but yes, we have made it to issue 10. And so far we have not killed each other yet. Like
That is
would that
also
sell
a
would that
huge thing for us.
because like wouldn't that sell? Wouldn't that sell like us like being at war with each other or something? I don't know.
It would sell, but at the same time, I think we're just too chill to kill each other. We'll just tacitly kill each other. It's like, oh, I see you put use creamer and sugar in your coffee. That's cool. Whatever. Like you don't get to use both. Prick.
And then the writers will just like, "Oh, this will be the rift that divides them."
Yes, the creamer in the coffee issue. Wait, was it mine? No, I used it. No.
So is this segue anyway perny into the video? If you're a Marvel or DC fan, then I guess.
True. And speaking of Marvel, Marvel has some pretty interesting news. They managed. I mean, at this point, it should have been like common news. Chip Zardsky has been signed mutually to Marvel. So I think this is a pretty big thing for Marvel, only because Chip Zardsky has been in their house for like several books and issues, ranging from Star Lord to um, Howard the Duck, and he's been there as an artist and writer for about maybe still in a year and a half, and now they got him officially, so the ring's on it. They put a ring on him. He's there for life, I guess,
If you like it, please put a ring on it.
pretty much. Which I wonder if the mutual agreement will stop him from working with Matt Fraction on Sex Criminals. At the same time, Sex Criminals is so behind, and from what I understand, they've been trying to push it as a TV show through a production studio. So I don't think the comic will be, I guess, within stands for a while. So, I guess that gives Chip a chance to look for work elsewhere. He also did a pretty good run as Jughead for Archie Comics, and that was pretty cool. Him and Erica Henderson. That was a pretty good run of comics.
I mean, well, if Sex Criminals picks up, I mean, if you've seen how TV production studio or how TV studios are just picking up any comic related series and thinking that will make them money.
True, and I find this is pretty much a little off segue about this is remember how people like Spielberg and a bunch of other Hollywood produced actors saying comics are trash, not essentially comics are bad, these are just pop culture, no one's gonna do it. And look, everyone is pretty much going through haywire to turn the comic narrative into a TV script. I wonder why. It's just a fashion, right? Just a fashion.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure, totally.
It just like I said, just a bunch of bitter, honest art dudes who just couldn't, who can't, who don't respect or appreciate the narrative as it is. Like like no, it's well, why shouldn't it be? I mean, it works.
It
So
works.
yeah. And speaking of things that work, Dan Slott will no longer be writing Spider-Man. His last issue, I believe, will be this June, and he's done a very beautiful interview of him. He will be the Iron Man writer he going forward, and I'm very interested in seeing him as an Iron Man writer with him
I
and
mean,
Valio Sketty.
he's been on Amazing Spider-Man for 10 years. Like, okay, fine, but it's just I kind of liked him on Amazing Spider-Man,
Believe it or
guys.
not, like I said, it's like the thing is that people forget how long he was. He wasn't Spider-Man like before during Gauntlet with like the many other writers, and then Marvel was like, I think it was during Alonzo and Quesada was like, okay, you're just Spider-Man writer, and then he did Big Time, and then he did just went straight forward, then Superior, and then he got through Amazing, did everything, and I'm
Like you're satisfied with him leaving. It's fine,
it's fine,
but it's
and he's
just
going on to another millionaire character. He's doing Iron Man, so I guess we'll have more self-destructive rich guys.
I don't know. Well, Peter wasn't really self-destructive. Not even Doc Ock. I mean, the whole yeah, I know it's a weird thing. Like that self-destructive. He was actually improving Peter's life, strangely enough.
Pretty
But the
much.
thing is, with Dan Slott, you tell he was improving Peter's life, and then he caved into the fandoms. Like, oh, it's not Peter anymore. He's just like another version of Tony Stark. That's what happens when you grow up, changing over time. You didn't?
True.
Did you think that Peter was gonna stay with Aunt May the rest of his life, and were for
Live
J.
in that
Jonah
studio
Jameson
apartment
the
in
entire?
Queens.
Uh, uh, but yeah, it's like you guys, that idea. I mean, he had his own company, and he was trying to enforce casual Fridays with his new team and everything. After Peter got back into his body, and he could have he was even able to develop new technology to help him fight crime and stuff. Like, come on, his life was getting better. Oh, we want him to be back with Aunt May and the Daily Bugle. It's like, no.
Hmm.
But yeah, I like Dan Slott's take on Spider-Man, like trying to get him to, get cycle
True.
of pain.
I uh,
I have to
I
say it.
generally yeah, I generally love Dan Slott for Superior Spider-Man, and my biggest love for Dan Slott is work is on She-Hulk. I'm a She-Hulk person, and I've always had faith in Slott's work. I think my favorite work he's done that isn't Spider-Man related is She-Hulk and the Silver Surfer run he did with the Allreds. And I have confidence in him that he'll have a good run on Iron Man as well. The
Oh
only
yeah,
thing is that
I think so too.
that's the thing is I hope the fanboys just don't go crazy on him. Be like, you're ruining Iron Man. I'm like the same way they were very angry about Spider-Man. So I hope they just let him be because he does deliver good stories, guys. Have faith in him, please. Have some faith in him.
I also loved Renew Your Vows.
Yeah, that was pretty
Like,
good too.
well, while we're on the improved Peter's life train, let's stick it to Joe Quesada's little try and improve Spidey's life. No, you made it worse here for Joe Quesada. Quesada, you just made that was the point where Joe Quesada made Spidey's life even worse by regressing it,
True.
where
I
Dan
think that
Slott was trying to improve it. I have every bit of faith in Dan Slott that he'll make this new Iron Man series really good.
true. And my thing about it to me, like, I think that was probably the final blow in I would say Casada's run that made him like he was no longer editor in chief, and they made him creative officer, and then we got Alonzo's editor in chief. And speaking of changes and shifting, all new Wolverine is going to be canceled, but X-23 will be coming back as X-23, not by Tom Taylor. It's going to be done by Mariko Tamaki and Juan Cabal. So I'm skeptical about this because Mariko Tamaki was she obviously being a good young adult art creator and writer. She did She-Hulk for a couple of issues, and it was a very emotional, heavy She-Hulk book. It was not the funs. It was like all feels all the time in some way, and I didn't really connect to that She-Hulk book as much as I thought I would because I'm a She-Hulk fan. I'm like, this is not the best run, but it's not really the worst. So I'm a bit skeptical with her making Laura Kinney, a more emotionally depth character because the way she wrote She-Hulk, I think she might approach running X-23 the same way. And I'm skeptical that the book might be much more emotion based than action. and I'm not saying, oh, it's a bad thing, but it's I worry about finding the balance because when I read her She-Hulk run, it wasn't balanced between action and emotions, and I wonder if it'd be the same thing for um, X-23, which I'm not saying should be bad, but this is a concern I have because I feel as if this was a like a book like Strangers in Paradise or a book like Love and Rockets where action isn't the core of the book and it's more about emotional growth, then yeah, totally this is fine. But this is a Marvel book, guys. We gotta have that Marvel. And X-23 is an action is essentially an action character in some aspects. I'm not saying she can't have character emotional depth, but the fact that Mariko Tamaki is more of an emotional writer, at least from my experience reading Hulk, and now she's going X-23, this definitely could be a huge change in dynamic of the character. At least how people can perceive the book.
I think that would also resonate well with, like, let's say the the fans of the Wolverine movie. The
Oh,
What was
Logan.
it? The Logan, yeah, the Logan movie. And I think in a way that movie was a bit more character driven than just action driven. Yeah, there was
Exactly.
action, but it was mostly a character piece for Logan and for I keep forgetting her name. Dang it.
Laura.
For Laura. And if they do take that route, then okay, that's fine. I mean, the character driven stories are not bad. I really like character driven stories, you know.
True.
Um
But but as I mentioned,
but with a
she did the
character
same
like
for. Oh, I'm sorry.
but doing the
It's
same for X-23 for Laura, I'm very sure like if you can actually make it engaging and then when it does hit the actiony parts, then it'll be worth it, you know.
true.
Kind of like with the movie where it was like we're engaged with them emotionally, we know them as people, and then when, you know, we do hit the really extreme kind of violence kind of stuff,
True.
it really resonates with us more.
Right. But I kind of, like I said, my only thing is that Tamaki had another book, and it was She-Hulk, and it was kind of, like I said, a little bit on the imbalance side on both ends. So I feel like maybe this time they have more editors to help things out. But I have faith in the book just because like I said, I'm an X-23 fan. Marjorie Liu was one of my favorite runs of it. I did enjoy Tom Taylor's X-23 run, All New Wolverine, even though my major problem with All New Wolverine was uh, they took a lot of classic Wolverine stories and tried to add lore to it, and not all of them were well, not all of them were hits. Like
Yeah,
Enemy,
that's what happens when you lore wank or when you lore spank. Basically, let's try to reference past stories and then that will win browning points with the fans. That's what I
yeah,
call it. It's basically, oh guys, continuity. That means it's automatically good.
right. Like Enemy the State was a run done by Mark Millar and John Romita Jr. And that run was pretty okay. It was like if Wolverine was turned back into an assassin magically and started, hurting and killing people, then he wants to get revenge in that. And he tried doing the same thing for Laura, Enemy State 2. But the problem is that that was about 6 issues, and I'm pretty sure Enemy State was longer than that, and it felt longer. So it's like you wrote the same story, but in a shorter time frame. So that was something that wasn't really a fan of. I felt like some of the stories, well, at least one or two of them, were particularly you just took Wolverine stories and Laura faced it, and you didn't execute it the same way. You just made it shorter. There was some that was the only instance I could see with the all new Wolverine run, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. And that's the thing, as you just pointed, was Laura spank. Laura spanking is not good, not all, at least not all the time.
At least not all the time. I mean, then you start getting stuff like Legend of Korra, where it's like, oh guys, remember this, but then not doing an efficient job with it.
Oh God, the nightmares.
It's like, can we, like, oh, let's not have Korra go on the same adventure as Aang did because that would be repetitive. You mean revisit the old stories and, you know, try to expand on them or something?
I mean, this is a continuation of a universe that you jump way into the future of, and with limited explanation of what happened.
and also we're confined to just Republic City. That's it.
Yeah, you can't go
Okay,
to Ba
fine.
Sing Se. You couldn't go to the Fire Kingdom. Like, what happened?
It's like, oh, guys, remember this? Then you think that's enough. Because lore, or because continuity, because remember this.
Yeah, it's like,
With Laura, it's like it's okay if you put her through the same kind of stories that Wolverine was put through, but just make either expand on it or make it feel like she learned something from it, or that it changed her in a way. Not the exact same lesson, but something unique to her.
exactly. That's the way to put it.
And
Yeah.
And
And,
speaking of lessons, let's
oh, yeah.
guess who else didn't learn their lesson or is still striving to learn their lessons
Our good buddies, Detective Comics.
over at DC. And what
Detective Comics.
was what are the what is the headlining news over at DC right now that I'm very sure a lot of diehard fans are just having a hard time processing?
Yeah, Justice League is now, it's over. It is now officially the lowest grossing DC cinematic universe movie.
The lowest grossing nerd related movie ever. And
Lowest, not
that's
ever, just for DC. I
well
mean, there's
just
some
for
pretty other
DC,
bad nerd movies.
but then compared to like other nerd related movie franchises, even even behind, let's see, what was it? Like it's obviously it's behind Star Wars, obviously.
That's
It's
not even a
behind
consideration. So,
it's it grossed even lower than I know that there was a chart going around where it was like it was going past. Let's see. I gotta look for it. I gotta go to the Google machine.
yeah, but basically, it was the lowest DC cinematic movie universe, and if you follow the trend, with the exclusion of Wonder Woman, each DC cinematic movie has actually made less profit than the first. So it's been on a downward trend. So this is the what the especially with the fourth movie, Jules, the fourth movie into the series, and it does worse and worse each time around.
Every single time. It's like, oh my goodness, how did you fail even more than how did you fail even more than Man of Steel?
Yeah, it did, like from Man of Steel to BVS to Suicide Squad to um, Wonder Woman to like Wonder Woman was a public and commercial success, and that's the one I could feel like it could be separated from this, so it kicked that out. Suicide Squad to here.
It's like like I've said to many times before, it's like Wonder Woman was that little blip to show that oh, this universe is still alive. Okay. What
Cool.
else?
Yeah,
But so far their only true success was the Batman Lego movie. That was their only success so far in a way.
that doesn't count. That was done by one. That was done by Warner Bros. Animation, bro. That doesn't really count. I'm being serious.
But if it's anything tied to DC,
Come on,
that is their only.
that's like saying the Scooby Doo movies break into Warner Bros. Revenue. Come on, no, it doesn't. Come on.
And even those do better than those even those did better than DC in a way.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of ironic that happening, and because of that, DC film side and TV side, they decided to make some huge changes. Like like the New Gods, created by Man Kirby, has decided to go with Evie DuVernay as to direct the entire series.
It's like, yeah, okay, taking on Jack Kirby's new or no, taking on Jack Kirby's legacy of the New Gods is great. Like we barely if ever visit them ever. I mean, Orion is the only one that comes up. And like
Well, there's also Big Barda, there's Mr.
yeah, Big Barda
Miracle,
and Mr. Miracle um
Protheus, there's a couple, yeah.
but we rarely ever touch on them. Like we don't really have a book centered around them
We
like in a
did.
long
We
time.
had a couple. We have currently in the DC comic book line. We have outside of Mr. Miracle, we have Bug, by Origins and Young Animal.
Oh yeah, Bug. Right.
Yeah, Bug the Forge. Yeah, and that's about it. Like I said, I think that because of the success of Mr. Miracle and Bug, we might get an Orion book. They might actually bring the New Gods back as a comic book because the New Gods have always been a cool property. I mean, the last time we got a solid New God story was Walt Simonson's run, and DC selling that hardcover for like $80. I'm like $75. Like, you goddamn morons! You should just put in trade paperback. But
I mean,
anyway,
it's Jack frickin' Kirby, so
yeah, but that's Jack Kirby. Yeah, they have Jack Kirby's runs, which you can buy. So I think they have a soft cover, but then I'm talking about like late '80s we had Walt Simonson's run.
it's like it's for those who don't know, the New Gods are basically it's not it doesn't have anything to do with American Gods, but we'll get to that. But
True.
the New Gods are basically uh, uh DC's cosmic kind of uh they're part of DC's cosmic line where it's like
They
they're
live
basically
pretty
space
much. The
gods.
new gods are they are powerful beings who live on these
New Genesis,
two planets in the universe known as New Genesis and Apocalypse. And New
whereas
Genesis is the awesome planet. Apocalypse is the bad planet. Apocalypse is the dark side. New Genesis is run by Highfather, and they live in this realm outside of space and time known as the Fourth World. They're just super powerful. It's just amazing stuff.
basically basically space gods.
Yep. And they
Basically
also mess
space
with Earth a
gods.
lot of times.
They do. It's like Darkseid just recently got into a fight with Zeus and
Yeah,
won. It's like, oh dang, that's how screwed we are right now. And then took Zeus's powers. Like, oh dang, we're really screwed.
true. And going back to point, DuVernay, if you want to know her resume, she directed, she's doing Wrinkle in Time, which has made them currently $42.2 million in America. And that is the new Wrinkle in Time, the movie Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, Oprah on the movies, and she directed that movie with $100 million budget. And as of I think it was Wednesday, she made $42.2 million. So she's 40% in her budget. That means that she can make over 100 million quickly within because that was in 6 days. So she probably made that money more than enough. So she beat her budget, and she's a woman of color, so she's the
So
first
are
woman of color to do a live action film with with a limited budget like that and getting to success. So she's stomping it. She'd be doing a New Gods. She tweeted that she's a fan of Big Barda,
which is
and
good.
yeah, yeah. And I think her taking it would be interesting because is taking her not because of her reputation. I think DC is taking her because of not the reputation, because of skill set. Because let's just say they give a budget of $80 million to this movie.
So her trying to take the reins on a comic book, and also with it's a series that she could very much enjoy. This could
True,
actually be a good thing. She'll pour in not only her talent but also her possible love for it into
true.
it.
Right. And the thing is that she is very good at managing with limited and small budgets. So if DC doesn't have faith in this movie, like they never do, they can give her like a string budget, like let's say 100 million or 80 million, and they could still get success because she's that talented.
Now if only they could. Now if she could revive if she could revive the DCEU, then that would be an achievement.
True. I mean, she also directed 13 and Selma. So if you want to know her previous work before this big one, but that's it. But in my opinion of her, I have faith. I think she's extremely talented.
And I can't
And
wait to read the New Gods.
yeah, I'm only thing I'm hoping for is I'm hoping for DC to reprint Walt Simonson New Gods because you should read it. It's a really nice run. It's one of my favorite runs of comics in soft cover. I'm also hoping that with the success DC is currently having with Mr. Miracle by Tom King, as well as Bug and the DC universe, I really hope they just print a New Gods line because I want to say at least 20, 30
Forever.
years since we had a solid New God stories for people who have experience. Because the way we're talking this podcast, you're like, I know the New Gods are, but who are they? Well, that's the whole point. It's been 20 years. Tell the story again.
And also, speaking of new gods and yeah, American gods, Astro City is going to be produced by the directors of American Gods,
Yes, it's in
which
the
I
it's the
forgot their
yeah
names.
yeah the Astro City will be a TV series from DC, and it's currently being worked on by the producers of American Gods.
And for those who don't know what Astro City is, it's an imprint owned by Vertigo, which is owned by DC, and that's why it's on this list.
True. Um, to give more detail of it, uh, Astro
Think
City was created by Kurt Busiek, Brent Anderson, and Alex Ross. Um, it was the first couple of issues were done in Image, and then they moved it to DC Vertical print. Busiek still owns the rights to the series, so he's gonna get a profit from this. And it's Astro City is it's a very beautiful science fiction comic. It's not about the people; it's about the area. It's essentially it's like reading if you read Brubaker's Criminal, different universe but same idea. You're reading what happens in the world of Criminal. You're reading what happened in the world of Astro. You get to learn heroes and villains the way they fight, time warping events, people who live it, and how the city grew from a small bustling to a utopia. And it's my only beef with Astro City is that it's very hard to follow because the way it was numbered back in the early in the mid '90s, so like the mid 2000s, they didn't have like Volume One, Volume Two, Volume Three. All of them were separate stories. And another thing that's going to happen for people, if you are Astro City fan, here's a small tidbit: Astro City will no longer be doing their stories as issues. Astro City going forward will be just, I guess, every quarterly or bi-monthly graphic novel stories. So, you know, if you want to continue your story at Astro City, just pick up trades. Trades is the way to go.
and
But
even
I'm
though
super
I
excited about this because Astro City is one of my favorite comics to read. It's a very expanding universe. I have not seen The American Gods. I have not seen that show. Jules tell me it's an amazing show about gods and sex.
well, even though I haven't really been that into Astro City, but having the producers of American Gods on, on a superhero show, they at least have experience with a comic book series. I mean, I
True.
know that Neil Gaiman wants to take the reins on American Gods now, and seeing their work on that show, this could actually be entertaining. Just hope that there isn't a sex scene in the first episode and the guy disappears up a goddess's hoo-ha.
I don't think that's
That
gonna
is
happen.
about as descriptive as I can get.
No, I
Because, well,
think
I mean, obviously there was more to the show than that, although there were like a few shock moments in a way. But I guess given the series that they're working with, the shock value is what you're expecting. But the reason why I liked that show is the same reason why I like a lot of Neil Gaiman's works. It's telling stories about stories, and if they were able to handle a concept like that and put their own spin on it, then maybe Astro City won't be too much of a problem with them. Like you said, it's a very expanded universe, but at least they're dealing with superheroes now instead of
well,
well, actually,
think
well,
of them as dealing with not superheroes, villains, scientists. You're dealing with the entirety of a new science fiction world.
whereas with their previous show, they were dealing with gods in modern day, but they're slowly being forgotten, and they're panicking that the new gods are going to overtake them.
Yeah,
Where they're shifting from fantasy to sci-fi.
right. And a different type of sci-fi. Like I said, Astro City is about the story of how the city people live there. Like I said, similar to the criminal, we're reading the world of criminal. So it's a very different take. In the world of the American gods, you're learning the intricate and storytelling of these gods of who they were, what they used to be, what they want. Astro
And
City, you're learning,
how
oh hey, that that building there, that statue, that hero. Yeah, this is why he got that statue.
Which is a very different way of telling a story in a way.
Right. Well, it's Kurt Busiek, so he can do what he wants. He's a great guy. Everyone should read at least one Kurt Busiek story in their life. One of my favorite comic creators.
And speaking of very strange ideas, what else is DC doing?
DC has
With another
decided
property.
to, for some reason, for some reason, they decided to high five themselves and think, you know what? We did Hanna Barbara just one time. Let's do it again. So we're
I
having
mean,
another
it's
crossover.
with another yeah, DC is having a new crossover with Hanna-Barbera, which is not beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, they've been doing this crossover series with Scooby-Doo where the Scooby and the gang are like on adventures with a multitude of superheroes like Shazam or Aquaman, or
Yeah,
they were even with the Legion of Superheroes for a little bit. Obviously with Batman and Superman and the rest of the Justice League. It's a fun little series. So maybe if they do that, just be fun. Let's not try to be edgy with the Hanna-Barbera characters.
oh yeah, like Elmer Fudd and Batman. I mean, let's be for real. I know people bought it because Tom King, but that was just weird. Elmer Fudd being a detective solving a murder is
I mean, and then there was Wacky Races as a sort of Mad Max kind of thing, which was cool, but why? Because you want. I mean, I've always said this before. The more the more extreme or serious or grimdark you try to be, the more ridiculous you're gonna look, especially with a property like this.
true.
Like it's like we totally needed to have wacky races involve death-defying stunts and them trying to kill each other on the road. We
Yeah.
totally wanted that, right?
Oh,
I mean,
man.
the space ghost kind of the story was kind of cool. I mean, obviously, I would imagine it being in a more tradition, like a less silly kind of thing, but still a superhero-y kind of thing story going on, and going crossing over with Johnny Quest. That was cool. But
True.
let's try. But guys, it's Hanna Barbera. Don't try to convince us that this is supposed to be some serious take on it. This is still Hanna Barbera. It's like you
Yeah.
don't see Scooby Doo doing this thing where oh wait no they did the stupid Scooby Doo apocalypse and I hated it.
Well, you can take in the words of Dan Didio, quoting what he says. Mixing DC and Hanna-Barbera characters for these stories has always been fun because the results tend to be wildly unpredictable. Even before you know what the story's about, just hearing the names that get thrown together instantly brings a smile to your face and puts your imagination into overdrive, trying to figure out what kind of story you could possibly come to these team-ups. Fortunately, we have a perfect line of creators that can bring these stories to life.
Oh yeah,
That's
kind of
Dan
like
D.
what we did with the Justice League movie.
Oh, this is Dan Didio. I don't think he's responsible for that.
Oh yeah, just because you use iconography, that doesn't mean jack. It's like you try to fit as much symbolism from other books and also going by, it's a Justice League, it'll do fine. No, it won't. Or like we made so many references in Batman v Superman to like the Dark Knight. Yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah, again, that's the movies, man. This is Dan Didio. He just did the comics, man.
But yeah, Hanna-Barbera doing a crossover with DC, again, not beyond the realm of possibility, especially since right now, um, Scooby-Doo, their latest crossover right now is with Supernatural.
Yeah.
So, Warner Brothers, is something wrong? But at least it's not trying to turn up the grimdark, where it's embracing how this is a dumb concept, let's roll with it, and let's just try to have fun with it. It's like when
Right.
they did the crossover with Power Rangers. They knew this was a dumb idea, let's roll with it. But even with the crossover with Scooby-Doo and Supernatural, I saw their latest trailer and wow, I didn't think that they would have decapitation or an actual murder in this episode. I thought this was going to be a light romp.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, that's me judging the episode before it came out, but really? Really? We had to see actual murder in Scooby Doo? Really?
With with Hanna Barbara style animation, yeah, why not?
It's like, I'm very, like, was there someone out there that wanted to see a decapitated body in Scooby Doo? And I'm surprised that the Scooby Gang took it very well, judging by the trailer.
Zoinks.
And, I mean, sure, Dean saying "son of a bitch" in Scooby Doo. Okay, that's fine. That's them. This is CW. This is still technically their. This is. Oh wait, no, that's not CW. It's Warner Brothers. It's their other show.
Yeah.
But DC. If you're going to do this crossover with Hanna Barbera, don't try to inject any grimdark, because I know that you're still trying to dip into that with Dark Knights. It's like, I'm not gonna forgive you if you try to inject your grim darkness and screw up this wonderful idea of having Hanna-Barbera cross over with DC. It's like, I better not see Space Ghost have his heart ripped out or something.
Space Ghost. Oh, okay. Oh.
Or 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 the wacky racist crew get brutally murdered or something. Or I don't know. It's just, this is a dumb idea, roll with it. Be fun about it. But then again, I'm going to see Space Ghost fight alongside Superman, so that's going to be cool. Oh wait, no. Make fun of, like, Space Ghost has to screw with Batman for a while. But anyway, on that wonderful tangent.
Sure. On a wonderful tangent.
DC,
the thing is,
another improvement that one improvement that we're having.
One improvement that's happening is I don't know how to put this. We're getting a new Justice League series with Scott Snyder. I mean, it's an improvement, I guess.
Compared to the last two writers we've had, I mean, I love you, Jeff Johns, but
Jeff Johns' run was over a long time ago, bro. We got the current Justice League writer is Brian Hitch, and then we had Christopher Priest, who's doing not a bad job.
Yeah. I mean, the Justice League book was, even in Rebirth, I didn't really pay attention to it, at all.
Yeah, because again,
like,
it was done by
the
Brian
Rebirth
Hitch. Brian Hitch can only do action stories. That's it, because he used to work with Mark Millar. The only difference is that Brian Hitch managed to put these issues on time compared to last time he was doing it on his own. It was awful.
And it's like, if this is gonna be, even before Rebirth, even during the New 52, the Justice League book was so. This was the first thing that they published back in 2011, and it was. There's a reason why this book did not translate well into a movie.
Yeah, I mean, how to put this? The last time I read the Justice League series was when Grant Morrison and then Mark Waid took over the book, and that was JLA. That was the last time I read the Justice League book.
Me too, because what we got currently, it's either characters act very stupid, they make questionable choices, they're fighting with each other a lot.
They're trying to be the Avengers.
They're trying to be the Avengers, but it's not working. And it's like a lot of action set pieces.
Yeah, for character development.
It's like, it's the least interesting of the books. That's why we go to everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's all that's one of the reasons why I think they were canceling all the teen books, because we have JLA and we have Justice League of America and Justice League. And
I was more interested in Justice League in the what was it, Justice League United.
Oh, that was a pretty decent book. I can't believe they canned that.
I really liked it, and I liked seeing Stargirl, and Animal Man, and
it was an interesting team.
It really was.
I forgot who wrote it. I know Jeff Parker wrote the end. I forgot who wrote the first half. Was it Jeff Lemire?
Yes, it was. That's why it was so good.
Yeah.
But at least Scott Snyder is helming it. I mean,
Well,
I
not
have
really.
faith. He isn't?
Here's the thing. Justice League, the new Justice League series, is they're doing that thing where they fuse too many writers in a book. It's Scott Snyder, James Tynion the Fourth, and Joshua Williamson, all in the same book.
Oh no, we're doing this again.
Yep.
I mean, did we not learn from? Okay, what's another one? Uh,
Batman Eternal,
yes, Batman Eternal.
Batman
Then
and
there
Robin
was
Eternal.
Convergence, where somewhere down the line they decided to pair Jeff Lemire with a whole bunch of other people,
Hmm.
and that no, it's like you're ruining it already. There's a reason why that thing slumped in the middle and got
Yeah.
boring and got bad and underwhelming. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just there were too many cooks in there were too many cooks in the kitchen, and there were too many chefs, and it got bad. The only time there should be ever multiple writers is when you know they're a good team or they can balance each other out. Why? And Scott Snyder can do a good story by himself. It's
True.
like, did we not see Court of Owls? Did we not see
I mean,
Death in the
he
Family?
had a good Batman run. I stopped reading when it became Death of the Family.
I hated it.
Yeah, that's when I dropped off. I'm
I
not saying
hated
he's a
the
bad writer. That
ending.
was it for me. I think he's good. And I do like his American Vampire.
Oh
My
yeah.
Yeah, my major thing is that I feel like Scott Snyder's like, I could write the book for you, and then it's like, no, let's try making James Tynion and Joshua Williamson good because they're going to be the future of DC. And James Tynion the Fourth, not really a bad writer, not really good either. And Joshua Williamson, I remember him. I think he was a writer for the current Suicide Squad run, if I'm right. So I'm like, if you want Justice League to sell, why are you putting all these people on it? And by the way, you have Francis Manapel in art. Francis Manapel is a fantastic artist. Why are you wasting his talent with four other people on the book with him?
Because we want to give people a chance to work on the book because we're very open that way.
Since when, DC?
No, no,
Just
no.
give it to Scott, man. He's got this.
Just give it to Scott. I mean,
We're not even trying to
Batman
be
was one
dicks
of the.
about it, too. Like, just give it to freaking Scott.
I mean, I think he deserves it after a really good Batman run.
Yeah, I mean, they gave him what was it? All Star Batman. People read
Yeah,
it, even yeah.
and a lot of people were thinking, "Oh no, it's All Star Batman." Okay, just don't have Frank Miller write it.
No, it's not. No, no, it's me, Scott. It's me.
Okay, good, good. And that wasn't too bad. I mean, I was teetering on the edge. It's like, don't give it to Frank, don't give it to Frank, don't give it to Frank, don't give it to Frank.
And speaking, don't give it to Frank.
Why is he still here?
Yeah, before you moan and groan, I gotta finish this. So he has a new deal with DC where he promises he's doing a graphic novel for his own Batman, his own Robin, Carrie Kelly graphic novel with DC.
It's just, did we not learn from Dark Knight 2 and 3? Did we not learn from All-Star Batman and Robin? Did we not learn from his work on with Legendary and the Holy Terror? Did we not learn from that? Or did we not learn from the fact that this man does can't do work unless we put him on a leash, and even then it's not that good.
Well, here's the thing. Well, he has an exclusive five project deal, so he has five projects. So it's a young adult graphic novel called The Dark Knight Returns, Harry Kelly. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a five-book deal, and so this book like two or three, and yeah,
It's
apparently he also do Superman Year One with John Romita Jr. But here's the thing, I have this inner feeling Not the book won't be that good. It's that he's going to, excuse my language, he's going to fuck over, and I really mean fuck over whoever he's working with it because in Dark Knight 3 Master Race, when the book wasn't doing that well, he literally threw Azrael under the bus. And Brian Azzarello is a brilliant creator. I love him. Moonshine, 100 Bullets. Great writer, great creator. You threw him under the bus, and he looked up to you. He was like, "Oh, this is Azrael. It's not my book. It was when I write Dark Knight 4 by myself, it'd be fantastic. When I write my own new books, it'd be great. Trust me. This is just nothing. Trust me. My next book will be better." Like, you piece of trash. You literally threw me under the bus after everything. I looked up to you. I took your direction, and the people hate the book, and you blame me. You man, seriously, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, if Scott is anything, he'll never admit to a mistake. He'd rather throw someone under the bus or
Frank,
scapegoat someone. He'll never admit that he has a problem. I
just like his
mean,
alcoholism almost killed him.
oh yeah.
Still
I
alive, by
mean,
the way. Nothing against
also
that.
he
I'm not saying he's a jail. If people need to know, this is true. Frank Miller is a heavy drinker and smoker.
Oh yeah,
He's
that
still
is very
alive. I
true.
believe. I don't know if he quit this. I believe he quit the heavy drinking, smoking. He's getting on in years. I still respect him as a great creator, but I'm not gonna forget what he did as Azarello. I'm never gonna forget that. That was straight lowball.
I know. It's like, I mean, I'm not that much of a fan of Brian Azzarello's work, but dang, even he didn't no one deserves to be chewed up by Frank Miller
Yeah.
unless you're Dan DiDio. No, I will laugh at that day. I will laugh at that day.
He knows how to sell a comic book, that's for sure.
But with Frank, him writing a young adult book is going to be problematic considering this
He's
is a
known for
guy,
he's gritty.
but he's just not known for his tact. I mean, his the last time he wrote anything about Carrie Kelly was in, let's see, she was in a skin tight cat girl or leopard-ish kind of a suit, and she vomited out the atom. And
I think that was DK
Dark Knight
two.
2. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
DK2. That was horrible. And his view of women is very, how do I put this? If I were to for All-Star Batman and Robin, he deliberately wanted the readers in the first issue to gaze upon uh I forgot what was her name. What was the reporter girl that hangs around Vicky Vale, Vicky Vale.
Mm-hmm.
Frank really wanted the readers to drool over Vicky Vale's butt.
Huh.
He
My
wrote that to Jim Lee. It's like, I'm shameless, Jim. Make him drool, and then also add some knockers there too.
huh.
It just Frank's view of women and him, and considering his political views and what he might try to teach young adults, and also how he treats women. And yeah, Carrie Kelly is still a teen, but that didn't stop him from putting her in a skin tight outfit.
Huh.
And it's just,
My thing about it is I don't believe he'll do that because like okay, DC they clearly have editors for that stuff. I don't think it's gonna go that far. This isn't the Wild West, so that's not happening. My thing about it to me is I don't trust the book just because he's doing it, as much as I respect Frank, I love Year One, I love his Daredevil run, I love Born Again,
which is
I
good,
I love Man
but
Without Fear. I mean that's his Daredevil stuff. Even Ronin is pretty okay. I don't like Sin City as much.
it's just I don't get Sin City either.
Yeah, Walker Washington is also a good book. I personally think though, like him coming back to the scene, and I understand he's getting on in years, he's trying to cement that legacy. I don't. I'm very, very, very wary about his Carrie Kelly young adult graphic novel series because he hasn't wrote a young adult graphic novel series.
At
I can't
all.
recall ever. I can't recall. But I
No,
do
I
have
don't
more
think
faith
so.
in his Superman Year One because Batman Year One was great, but yet
But
at the same time, this is Superman.
oh, then that's where you and I really differ because I think he writes a very terrible Superman.
That's the thing. It'll be Year One Superman. This will be Superman as a savage. That's not true. Um,
Unpolished?
I have some faith in it.
We
Some
kind of
because
did that with Action Comics #1 and with Grant Morrison, but that one, ooh, not so great.
yeah,
And
like
considering that this is Frank Miller, and he doesn't really. Let me put it this way: whenever Frank Miller writes Superman, it's like the extreme version of a Boy Scout, where Superman is a slave and the puppet of the government, and is diehard patriarch to the point where if the American people want it, I will beat your face in.
uh,
Or where he thinks if someone had that much power, he would do this. He wouldn't be sanctimonious about it.
hmm,
He has a very, very skewed. I mean, he's like. Frank Miller's like the ultimate Batman fan, where if he tried to write Superman, it would be a very skewed, very skewed. Like, even if this is like an early version of Superman, I'm very sure that it's going to be skewed even for that.
sure. Like I said, I have more faith in it to see it done, to see it through. But again, I like I said, none of these books have been announced that it will be him alone. Because if it's him alone and the books are bad, he can't bury anyone under the bus except for him. And if he tries to bury DC under the bus, DC will bury him.
Yeah, it's like if he fails on his own, then that'll just be him putting more nails in the coffin in his career as it is.
Or more, or more like I said, you can't because there's like like I said, it made me deeply upset that like I said with the Azrael issue in Dark Knight 3 that it's is this and if these books don't do well, there's no Azrael you can blame. You can't blame John Romita Jr. because he's an artist. You're gonna blame what? Jim Lee? You're gonna blame Dan Didio? I mean, we do that, but still, you
We
can't do
do that
that.
all the time, but you're preaching to the choir already.
Yeah,
Like, are you
but
gonna blame your editor or whatever? Well,
yeah,
that's
but
what
it'll
they're
be
meant to. If they're
exactly
gonna if they're gonna do anything, they're gonna try to filter out all the stuff you're trying to do as best as they can.
more.
And
Like I
even
said,
when
yeah,
and even
as you and I
whenever
mentioned earlier, there's no way he could push any of his weird agenda or his other stuff into it. Because, like I said, I respect him as a creator. I didn't know he was a conservative person until about like 2 years ago, and I don't really care about that because he didn't really put it in his comics because he reads when you read crime comics. All crime comics are essentially about one lone guy trying to save the city or whatever, or destroying his own life. So that's whatever.
well, if you ever read Holy Terror, or if you
Nope,
ever
skip that.
yeah, or All Star Batman and Robin.
That was super trash. Oh
I
man,
know.
I don't think that book finished.
No, it didn't. It didn't. It just ended on a scene of Robin and Batman hugging in the graveyard. It's like, the only good scene in here. Now it's over.
Hey, he painted himself yellow. Come on, drinking
Mm.
lemonade.
Where everyone else is stupid. No, really, everyone else is stupid, but supposedly Batman. Actually, no, even Batman was stupid in that one. It's it's like Frank has done good work before, but then in recent years, his political views already start bleeding into his work, and they're very abhorrent kind of views. And he's a very angry kind of man with very
Well,
little respect for anyone. Like, he
well,
doesn't
he
even
did. Like I
respect
said,
his
the
fellow
heavy drinking doesn't
creators.
help.
But, maybe with the very, very heavy editorial watch, maybe they might be able to do something. But then again, that's never stopped Frank before.
Frank is the hero. Oh, he's the hero. He's the hero. He's the hero DC needs, not the hero they want.
So am I gonna be the So do I have to be the Bane that comes in and breaks his back?
I don't think you need to do that since he's like, I don't know, above 70-ish, 60-ish, and his body's already super frail. So his
Yeah.
back would be broken by like anything.
It's like I just walk into the office like, okay, oh man, he's already dead. Like, I come dressed in his Bane, it's like, okay, let's do this. Oh, wait, he already broke his own back. Never
It's like,
mind.
well, my work here is done. You didn't do anything. My work here is done.
And I'm very sure in his last will and testament, he's gonna blame DC for all his failings.
Nah. I guess if he does that, he buried whatever chance he has. But like I said, man, he has a 5 book deal project. DC wouldn't give him a project if they didn't see the script beforehand for stuff, so I think they have faith. I don't have faith in his graphic novel, but I do have faith in Superman Year One, and
I
I
give
do
him
have
2
faith.
books.
Yeah, and I
I
do
mean,
have
I give
faith in
him.
maybe his 3 other books that come out. Like maybe, like who knows? Maybe they're going to give him
I
right
give him
the
two.
Dead Man, or they'll give him Question, because these are detective characters. He can write detective characters.
Conspiracy theorist with another conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, it works. A guy who
Oh
doesn't
dear
believe in
gosh, this is
it
gonna be
believe
so.
it or not, as paranoid as you are, it would work. As a writer, I can see it working.
True. If he were to spew out nonsensical bullshit, then yeah.
That's the whole point.
Then
That'd be
he
the point.
starts making a story about Girl Scouts or whatever, or I don't know, some other conglomerate that influencing people, or oh, the
He,
Holocaust was a fake.
no, that's too far. That's too far. That's what's
You
for. I
know he
think
would try something like that.
no. He would probably go as far as saying that drinking salsa water lets the Iraqis tube into your brain to turn it to oil so they could drill it and then sell it to America.
Then again, this is the guy that thinks that that Muslim terrorists have access to jets and explosives or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
I don't mean like regular explosives, I mean missiles.
cool. I
Like,
mean, that's the '80s for you.
it's like, Frank, do you realize that Muslim terrorists are a guerrilla force, not a militarized group?
Gorillas.
It
I'm I'm actually pitch. No, I'm actually picturing. If you telling it to him, he's picturing actual gorillas, like Gorilla Rod.
it's like, since when did Muslim terrorists have access to jets and launch missiles?
I mean, Doctor Doom can, so I guess anyone can.
That's Doctor Doom. He has the money. This is just a ragtag team of people trying to take down the world, in a sense. But yeah, I give Frank 2, maybe 3 books tops before something happens. Because it already happened with Dark Knight 3 and him blaming Brian Azzarello. What makes you think that he's not going to make another scene?
True, and he also was late on those books getting delivered. I think it took forever, but he finally finished it. I think maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, it did. It took a while.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I were to work on something with Frank Miller, I'd be tired out too.
Well, there's also, like I said, late delivery and a whole bunch of other things. And the best thing, the only shining memo about Dark Knight 3 was if you purchased the issue, you had a mini comic inside of it drawn by drawn and written by written by Frank Miller, and those were probably the best parts of the comic, which makes me sad that you pay like what, an $8 comic to read like a mini comic.
I don't know. I mean, I do like how he uses negative space in order to convey objects, like giving it this actual noir kind of style to it. But his art really, eh, outside of that is just, yeah, no,
I
not
don't know,
it.
man. Like I said, you're talking to a guy who read like comics in the '80s. It was really cool. Wolverine, Daredevil, it's really good stuff.
Okay then, but $8 for more stuff?
Yeah, $8 for a $3 comic. That's essentially the price was. Like essentially what you paid. Like you pay like like
I
you pay like
thought we
5, 6 bucks.
I thought we knocked it. I thought we knocked out. I thought we stopped with this stuff and we held the line at $2.99. Where did that policy go?
Inflation. But I think the reason why is because these are like what, 50
Exclusive.
pages or 60 pages comics. I forgot the number of pages they had.
Basically, they were exclusives.
More or less, yeah.
It's like, okay, how this like insert the Jim Sterling video about how exclusives basically just entrance you to buy more stuff.
You could just do what I would do and just cue the shooting star song. Play
But
that. That's
yeah,
pretty much it.
I give Frank Miller
Anyway,
a few
guys,
books before he gets canned.
um, I don't think Jules and I have any recommendation for comics this time around, only because we just did a huge news roundup and we talk extensively of how Jules will find Frank Miller and break his back, while I, on the other hand, is like, dude, Daredevil's cool though.
But 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 Carrie Kelly vomiting the atom and then you know Muslims and stuff with Frank
Yeah.
Miller thinking that they're militarized and that all Muslims are terrorists. No, seriously, there was even a scene in Holy Terror where an exchange student apparently was a suicide bomber too.
Thank God I didn't read that comic. I just knew better.
It was horrible. And so
Frank, what you would
and
do
it
for
was
money is amazing.
and obviously DC didn't want to do it. That's why he went
Who
over to
printed? Yeah, let me
Legendary.
look. Give me a sec. Who printed Holy Terror? I gotta look that up.
Legendary.
Huh?
Legendary.
Legendary? Who owns Legendary? I gotta look that
It's
up.
not Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. Give me a solid because it's no. That had to be an independent printing press.
The Legendary Holy Terror. To the Google machine.
To to the Googles.
Legendary Comics. That wow, there's not a lot here that's noteworthy.
Yeah, that's
There
what it says.
really
It must
is.
have been a small independent press in this way.
Yeah. This. Oh wait, no, they did a few horror comics: Trick and Treat, Day of the Dead, Krampus, but that's it. Godzilla Awakening. Though those are the only ones that are notable. And yeah, the first graphic
1.15.
novel. The first graphic novel published was Holy Terror by Frank Miller back in 2011.
Yeah, this is the bad time. Yep.
Their first book was the nail in the coffin for Frank Miller's career. I don't know whether that's a success. I don't even know. It's like you could say, "Oh, we our first book was published was written by Frank Miller." It was Holy Terror.
Hmm.
Ugh. No wonder I've barely ever heard of this company.
Yep.
But yeah, we don't have any recommendations. Although, if I could have one recommendation, I'm very sure everyone has seen the glorious Infinity War trailer. So
Oh boy.
if anyone is ever curious about how Thanos acquired the Infinity Stones, because in Infinity Gauntlet it doesn't detail that. In Infinity Gauntlet, he already has the stones. But if you want to know how Thanos got it, then I would suggest Thanos Quest, which is written by Jim Starlin and drawn by Ron Lim. Now, this book is good in the sense that it shows off Thanos' intelligence and guile and his manipulative nature and tactics in acquiring the Infinity Stones. You know, basically, this is his hunt for infinite power, and also him adjusting himself to the power of the Infinity Stones. So yeah, for anyone who wants to, brush up on a little something, before the movie, and maybe you think Thanos Quest was. Oh, who am I kidding? You're all gonna think that the movie is better anyway. But yeah, I was just hyped to see that trailer. I really was.
Hmm.
Please let Stan Lee live to see this movie. But yeah, that's all the news we have so far, guys.
Yeah.
Um,
If you guys like our news roundup, please give us a follow and a like, and subscribe to Jules Chan's YouTube video channel, Machine Bob's, where he does reactions to bad animes and complained that Bakugo is the new Hitler, apparently.
no, he's the new Damien.
Oh, you
No, really, I
downgraded it.
don't know who I hate more. Well, at least with Damien, he's starting to get better. Bakugo is like, how could I hate you even more? But yeah, and also eventually I will get Comic Corner up and do Action Comics 1000 eventually. Eventually. It's but yeah, thanks you guys so much for following us. Thank you. Give us a like, give us a follow on Twitter, and please follow more of our work on the Outer Haven. We'll be back with more War of Infinite panels, and we'll reach our annual eventually, and hopefully we'll have our big character arc about some space battle or whatnot.
Or Joel Chance be forced to realize that Frank Miller is his father. That can't be. Never.
Oh my gosh, I would shank myself right then and there. Give me the lightsaber now.
No.
No. Oh wait, no. Give me the batarang, and then I will Sudoku myself.
And
that
Bible
would be more poetic. Oh really? That would be poetic. If I found out if I found out Frank Miller was my dad, then I would shank myself with a batarang.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Anyway, yeah, sorry for that horrible description, guys, but yeah, thanks so much, and we'll see you later.
Yep, thanks again later, guys.